Previously, on Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 6. Neosekken wrote about it in her scrapbooks, and I didn't want to believe it. They're coming closer to me, and I don't mean the Sonozaki family. Something beyond common sense is about to happen. Should I fight or should I run? I don't even know what I should do. I feel like I'm rooted into a spot with fear. Am I about to be eaten?
私もこの世に生きて長いけど、私をリカじゃないと見破った奴は初めてよ。あなたは勘がいい人だと初対面から思ってたけど、大したものね。
So you are long-lived.
怖がらないで。私はあなたを助けに来たんだから。助けに？へえ、どうやってかな？あなたはね、ちょっと病気になってしまっただけなの。ちょっとしたお薬で楽になるのよ。私はその薬を持ってきたと言ったら、あなたの好きなように過ごせばいい。このリュウグウレナにはもう興味ない。次のリュウグウレナとうまくやれるようにするわ。
I assumed I could live until the end, but I might have been wrong. I might follow the same path Tomotaki-san took, way before the end comes. She fell for the contents of those ridiculous scrapbooks. People might laugh at her for that, but those scrapbooks aren't normal. They manipulate their readers' hearts, and with evil intent, take advantage of their vulnerabilities. That evil intent captured my heart for one night. That's why I know how evil they are.
待てよレナ、自分以外世界中が全ておかしいって、それってつまりさ、認めてるってことじゃねえかよ。おかしいのは自分だけなんだよ。世界は最初から何も変わってねえし、おかしくもなんともない。ましてやレナの敵でもなんでもない。自分だけが正しくて世界が全部敵なんてことはありえないんだよ。それはつまり自分だけが敵ってことなんだよ。
かわいそうなケイイチくん。でも仕方がないよ。ミオさんの真実は誰もが受け入れられるものではない。ずいぶん悪いことしてたみたいだね。
What the fuck?
さとこちゃんとリカちゃんにも話しておかないとね。こんな危ない人が身近にいたなんて信じられないよ。
違うそれはたまたまなんだ。
モデルガンで通行人を連続して襲撃。すごいすごい。ひなみ沢村連続開始事件に負けないくらいインパクトあるよ。
違うんだよ。あれは
何がどう違うの？数週間の間に見ず知らずの通行人を狙って通りがかりにモデルガンで撃ちつける恐ろしい事件だった。
I apologized and accepted everything. I moved here to put it behind me. I wanted to have a fresh start in Hinamizawa. I swore to myself to live a clean life from then on. Everything is ruined now. I'll be a criminal, no matter where I go. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry Kai Chapter 6. I have a sneaking suspicion that this big showdown between Keiichi and Reina that we've seen allude to at the beginning of this new chapter is probably going to be happening pretty soon. Call it a gut feeling, but considering how far along down the path to utter batshit insanity that Reina is down right now, I'd be surprised if it took more than, like, I don't know, maybe 2 more parts at this point. 2 more episodes before we reach that point. So we're probably getting pretty close to the end of this chapter then. Because I imagine that there won't be much left. There won't be much left to Chapter 6's story once we get to that point. Assuming that that actually for sure happens in this chapter. Because for all we know, maybe it'll happen in another chapter. Anyway, let's see what's in store for us. Hopefully somebody can knock some semblance of sense into Reina, but I'm doubtful. At lunchtime the next day, everybody in class was talking about Reina's disappearance. We were all worried about her safety, but I kept a safe distance from everybody else. Well, Rika has just kind of written her off, so she's not worried.
レナはどこに行っちゃったんだろうね。鬼隠しにあったなんていい加減なことを言ってる連中もいるよ。まったく。
ケイチさん、今日は元気がありませんでしたよ。みー。
Satoko and Rika-chan know something odd about my attitude.
俺は、
I couldn't sleep at all last night because of what Reina told me. Friends don't keep secrets from one another. That sentence bit into my heart, and I couldn't sleep because of the pain.
ミオ、サトコもリカちゃんも話しておきたいことがある。
レナに関すること？
Sort of.
いや、そうじゃない。俺自身についてのことなんだ。
I decided to tell them about it because they were my friends. Oh, now this is gonna be interesting. How will they respond to you telling them about, your cries for attention? But I didn't know what I was expecting to change by doing so. They might despise me. Was there any benefit in telling them? Maybe it's because there's some small part of you is hoping that they'll still accept you, regardless of you telling them about it, so you could therefore, by extension, prove Reina's words wrong, prove her assumptions wrong that they would reject you, just for the fact that they'd keep secrets from you. That you kept secrets from them, excuse me. If I were in your position, that's probably what I'd be hoping for deep down, even if I wasn't consciously aware of it. No, there wasn't. I knew that for sure. But I still wanted to tell them about it, just because I thought it'd help heal the pain I was feeling.
ケイチさんのことですの？
ああ、ちょっと真面目な話なんだ。聞いてほしい。
Do you know about this truth that we're going to be going into, Rika? Has Keiichi ever mentioned it at any point in any of your previous lifetimes?
俺が引っ越してくる前のことなんだ。当時の俺は勉強しか脳のないやつだった。
I learned the tricks of the game called studying at my cram school. I enjoyed the sense of superiority I felt by getting good grades. I kept studying just because I wanted to look down on the other students. When my grades got better, my parents got happier, and my teachers praised me. I felt good. It was fun to look down on the students who were good at running, dodgeball, or swimming. That was the only reason I kept studying. Before I knew it, not only was I at the top of my class, I was the top of my school. So I started to think I was the most important student there. I looked down on the kids who were playing in the schoolyard during lunch break. I enjoyed feeling a sense of superiority to them in my insignificance. The more I studied, the better everybody expected me to do. They started to place high hopes on me. They expected me to go to the best school in Japan. I flattered myself in thinking I deserved to go to that school as well. But the fun went out of looking down on people, while the burden of studying didn't change a bit. My classmates stopped admiring my cleverness after a while, and my teachers started to push me to study more. All of a sudden, the fun had gone out of it. To begin with, I didn't even like to study. I had average reflexes. I was average in a fight. I was an average boy with nothing that really drew attention. So when I found something that I could use to get that attention, I jumped on it. It happened to be studying for me, but if it was riding a unicycle or juggling, I would have done that too. When I realized I didn't enjoy studying anymore, it got very boring. I was just a little boy who wanted to be praised when I did something better than anybody else. I finished all of my summer homework because my parents praised me for it, and I took charge of cleaning duties at school because my teachers praised me for it. So when they stopped praising me for what I did, I began to feel as though my life had no meaning. My parents used to give me an allowance that was proportional to how good my grades were, so I used to get a substantial amount of money for my age. I don't know if I had a natural interest in violence, or if I was looking for it because of my frustration at the time. I took an interest in BB guns. At first, I shot at cardboard boxes. It was fun. Being violent at pieces of cardboard relieved a lot of stress. Nobody blamed me for doing that. But soon, I started wanting to do something I should never have done. On the box that my BB gun came in was a warning label that read, "Do not shoot at people." That was when I thought about doing just that. Why did I do something I shouldn't have? I guess I was just immature. I wasn't interested in studying anymore, but I forced myself to do so anyway. My parents forced me to go to several cram schools. I was mad at them for that. I should have told them I didn't want to study anymore, but I didn't have the courage to do that. So I used my frustrations as an excuse to do something cowardly. I shot at kids who were younger than I was with my BB gun. It gave me such a thrill. It felt so good to do something bad when I was so overcome with studying. Needless to say, I had no personal grudge against the kids I shot. As long as the kids passed through a deserted street, they met the requirements to become my target. I didn't mean to hurt them. I shot them once or twice from a distance. That was all I wanted to do. But sometimes they didn't react at all because the BBs hit a thicker part of their clothes or something. I didn't like that, so I started to shoot until they noticed they were being hit. It inevitably escalated into a barrage of gunfire. I study a lot. I'm doing something good. So, I deserve to do something bad to balance out the good thing I'm doing. That was the unbelievably selfish excuse I made. I thought I had a right to do things like that because I was suffering myself. I thought people who weren't suffering like I was deserved to be shot at and to get hurt a little bit. So as the saying goes, misery loves company. I was so selfish, so arrogant, and so immature. I was disgusted with myself. If I could have met myself at that time, I would have given myself a punch in the face so hard that I'd knock out all my teeth. They started to call it a series of attacks on school children. The principal of my school held a morning assembly to inform everyone about the case and to warn them to be careful when playing outside. I was laughing sneakily. The PTA issued a letter of warning and advice to take the safest way to and from school. Parents took turns watching kids when they walked home, between home and school in groups. The more serious it got, the more it reminded me of the excitement I first felt when my grades started going up. I was absorbed in that game I was playing. I didn't think that I'd get caught someday. I didn't even think to stop doing it, either. One day, I found a little girl who was walking down a narrow, dark street, all alone. She was a very small girl. I didn't know if she was on her way to her friend's house or if she was running an errand. I didn't care which. It was careless of her to go out alone. School had warned her not to. So, it was her fault. Just like always, I made a selfish excuse and attacked her. Some of the shots hit her in the back. She noticed she was attacked by somebody. She turned around. It was a natural reaction. At that time, I didn't hesitate to rain hell upon her. So when she turned around, I was still shooting at her. Usually when I shot at a kid, she cried in pain and ran away. But this girl was different. She thrashed around in excruciating pain, holding one of her eyes. When I saw her doing that, I realized what had happened right away. The BB had hit her in the eye. Until that moment, I didn't think about what would happen when a pellet that could easily go through a cardboard box hit an eyeball. Anyway, the girl howled in pain, and for the first time, I realized I had done something horrible. She saw me, so I couldn't take her to a hospital. I couldn't do anything about it, so I left her there while she was still screaming in pain. I wondered if she was okay, and I worried that she had lost her eye. I kept thinking about her, and I didn't even feel like eating that day. I went to the bookshelf in our living room, snuck a medical book to my room, and studied the structure of the human eye. It was too late to make a difference, but I studied what kind of injuries would make a person lose their vision. I knew it wouldn't make the sin I committed weigh any less, even if I found out that she wouldn't lose her sight. I couldn't sleep that night, and I suffered from a high fever. It wasn't my parents, my teachers, or the police who punished me for what I did. It was my own body. Before dawn, I woke my parents up and confessed to my sin. They were shocked at first, but it seemed like they understood the situation quickly due to my recent disobedient behavior and my interest in BB guns. My mom cried hysterically. My dad slapped me in the face till it swelled up. Before the sun came up, I turned myself in to the police, accompanied by my parents. Satoko stared at me with a stunned expression. I deserved to receive that kind of look. What I did was very wrong, and I needed to accept that.
それ、本当ですの？
ああ、本当だ。今まで隠していて悪かった。
なんでそんなことを今頃になってわざわざ言おうと思ったわけ？
Good on you for asking the really hard question here. Mion asked me. Rika-chan nodded in agreement.
本音から言うとさ、ケイちゃんどうしたのって感じかね。
まあ、そりゃそうだよな。
違うよ。 そんなことわざわざ言い出す必要あったのかなってね。
いや、隠し事をするなんて仲間じゃないよな。俺はみんなのことを仲間だと思ってる。だからもう隠してなんかいられなかったんだ。
圭一はそれを僕たちに話して何を期待しているのですか？
期待なんて別にないよ。俺はただ
許しが欲しくても僕にはあげられないのです。圭一が怪我をさせた人たちにしか。だから僕たちにそれを話しても何の期待にも応えられないのですよ。
リカの言う通りですわね。潔いのは認めますけれど、そんなことを私たちに打ち明けてどうしたいって言うんですの？
どうしたいってことはないよ。ただ仲間に隠し事は。
My friends look annoyed by the sudden confession of my past. I took it as a bitter medicine. I got what I deserved.
ケイちゃんさ、ちょいとここで質問なんだけどさ、仲間に隠し事ってしたらいけないわけ？
え？
ケイちゃんの論法だと隠し事をしないのが仲間みたいな話だけどさ、おじさんはそんなの嫌だね。
僕も嫌です。
Oh, you certainly wouldn't agree. I mean, you've got you got several lifetimes worth of secrets here that I'm sure you want to keep from us. Mia and Rika-chan obviously disagreed with my statement. Satoko nodded, following suit.
言いたくないことを言わないで何が悪いわけ？人には話したくないことや辛いこと、悲しいこと、失敗したことや思い出したくないことがたくさんある。それを全部打ち明けないと仲間と呼べないんなら、私はそんな仲間はいらないね。
I'd go a step beyond that and just wouldn't even bother having friends at all.
でもそれじゃあ。
圭一、打ち明けなくていいことと打ち明けなくてはならないことは違いますのです。罪は許しを得るために打ち明けなくてはならない。でも打ち明けて許された罪はもう打ち明ける必要はないのですよ。
I'd listen to these two, Keiichi. They really understand what they're talking about here.
そうですわね。だってケイチさんはちゃんとおまわりさんのところに行って怒られてきたんでございましょう。それで償いをして許してもらえたなら、それでケイチさんの罪はおしまいですわよ。
I don't know. Let's ask Reina.
自首してその結果を受け入れたなら、それでケイちゃんのお務めは終わりだよ。もちろんケイちゃんが罪の十字架を背負い続けることはとても大切なこと。二度と過ちを繰り返さないよう常に胸に刻み続けるのは正しいことだよ。
Too bad Reina's took that mindset to a very unhealthy degree.
でもね、それはケイちゃんが自戒することであって打ち明けなくちゃいけないことではない。
そうですわよ。過去の恥ずかしい話なんかは私も内緒にしたいことがたくさんございましたよ。
Don't we all?
さとこは特にいっぱいいっぱいありますのです。
I do wonder, is there anything about Satoko you don't know about Rika? Considering that you both live together and all, and that you've clearly gone through several lifetimes already with Satoko. I can't help but wonder.
私だけじゃございませんのよ。リカもですわよ。リカもですわよ。
みー。
Ooh, the triple combo. Satoko and Rika-chan fooled around with each other like they always did. Mion looked at them and then back at me.
今、サトコはとてもいいことを言ったと思う。ケイちゃんにはどの部分かわかる？
過去の話は内緒にしたいというところか？
違う違う。 その次の部分。誰にだってあるってところだよ。無菌室の試験管の中で育った人間でもない限り、人の人生は試行錯誤の繰り返しだと思う。いいことも悪いことも、いろいろなことを繰り返して成長して、それで最後の最後に素晴らしい人間になれればいいんじゃない？
You freaking get it. I'd give you a cookie if I could.
いいことも悪いことも、すべてとても大切な経験なんだと思う。それは誰でも同じで、ケイちゃんだけじゃない。いや、クラスの全員にも当てはまることなんだよ。
例えば、ミーはもっと昔は札付きの悪猫さんだったのですよ。
I know, she and Shion used to confuse all the adults a lot with the twin switcheroo thing. I am aware. Also that she was very creative with sugar cubes and construction equipment. There's also that too.
にゃーにゃー。
まあ本当はあんまり言いたかないんだけどね。
Sure you're not.
私から見ればモデルガンで闇討ちなんてかわいいもんだって。私なんかレンガとか投げつけてたよ。いやほんと。
Yeah, that's also pretty bad.
警察に何度お世話になったことやら。ダム戦争の最中はちょっとした留置場常連だったよ。いや本当に。
でも、昔のことなのですよ。そしてそれを、ケイイチに言う必要はないのです。仲間であってもなのです。
仲間であっても。
私だって、とても言えないような苦い過ちや罪がいくつもあります。でも、言わないのは言っても仕方がないからですわ。
言って楽になるなら、私たちは聞くよ。でもね、仲間だから言わなければならないなんてルールはない。むしろ仲間なら、言いたくない過去を察して、あえて聞かないのが本当の仲間なんじゃない？
それはそうだけど。
ケイちゃんが打ち明けて楽になったなら、それでいいよ。私たちは、今日の話をすぐにでも忘れる。それに、今日の話を聞いたから、ケイちゃんとの接し方を変えるようなこともない。
Unless a certain bug is involved. Buzz buzz.
ケイイチが前の町でしたことなんて、今のケイイチと何の関係もないのです。今のケイイチが僕たちにとってかけがえのない仲間であるのなら、前の町のことなんか僕は知りたくないのですよ。
リカの言う通りでございますわ。逆に、前の町でどんなに善行を積もうとも、こちらに来て嫌な人だったなら、前の町の善行なんかしたことじゃありませんわね。
ってことはさ、ケイちゃん。前の町での十字架は、ケイちゃんが密かに胸に秘めることであって、こっちでわざわざ口にする必要なんてないんじゃない？
You three really need to tell all this to Reina. She's the one that needs this kind of lecture big time right now. And a straitjacket.
いや、仮に口にしてもだ。それでケイちゃんの見方を変える程度のやつだったら、私はそいつの方を見下げるね。
過去が何だろうと、今が素晴らしい人間であるならば、どうして恥じることがございますの？
If only the whole world thought like this. If only.
もし過去の過ちを一生取り戻せなかったら、私たちは何のために生き続けますの？
サトコは、過去にとても甘えん坊さんでした。それを後悔して、今はこんなにも元気で頑張っていますのです。だから、僕は今のサトコは、とても素晴らしいと思いますです。昔どうだったかなんて、僕は興味ないのです。リカ。
ケイちゃんだってどうよ。例えば私が留置場常連の札付きだとしたら、私への見方を変える？変えないでしょ？私は私。 いつものように楽しくふざけ合える関係は何も変わらないでしょ。それが仲間ってもんだもん。
What? What's going on? Miona's trying to cheer me up with an encouraging smile on her face, but her expression became distorted all of a sudden. Oh no. Are you actually going to catch the... Well, you already caught it, technically, but are you going to start displaying symptoms too after all? Big teardrops fell from my eye. Oh. No, you're just crying, thank God. What? Why am I crying?
先に言っとく。俺はサトシのことは何も知らない。みんなが隠してたからな。
隠してたってわけじゃ。
毎年起こる事件のこと隠してたろ。
Wait a minute. When did this happen?
それはケイちゃんを。
怖がらせたくなかったってのか？それが理由で俺だけのけ者かよ。
Oh my God, I think I remember. This is from chapter 1, isn't it? When Keiichi confronted Mion.
いや、そんなつもりじゃ。
Mion didn't know what to say. She had tears in her eyes. She thought she did me a favor. She didn't know why it turned out like this. She didn't want to make me scared of the village, since I just moved here. What more reason did she need?
ミオンに直にダム現場で事件がなかったかって聞いたよな。ミオンはないって言ったじゃないか。バラバラ殺人があったのによ。嘘つき野郎。
ごめん。嘘ってわけじゃ。
仲間ってのは隠し事なんかなしだろ。そうだろ。じゃあお前らは仲間じゃない。
Holy shit, I think I just now realized something. This whole time I've been wondering, was chapter 6 actually what I was assuming it was going to be going into it, and that'd be like the answer arc for like chapter 1? But the longer it went on, it just seemed like a wholly new story, unrelated to any of the question arcs, so I just couldn't help but wonder, is that what I was actually seeing? But I think I think that's only half right. And I was also only half right about my initial assumption going in. I'll just jump straight to the short version of it. I think chapter 6 is the answer arc for chapter 1. If you switch Reina and Keiichi's roles around in this scenario. Reina is acting exactly like how Keiichi did in chapter 1, with the same mindset and suspicion and the same mindset and attitude towards secrets being kept from her by her friends and everybody else around her. And just feeling like the whole world around her is just part of some massive conspiracy that's possibly out to get her. That's exactly how Keiichi and I ended up thinking back in chapter 1. So, yeah, I think I get it now. When you swap their roles around in this chapter, then this is basically another version of chapter 1. Chapter 6, I mean. Ah! What are friends? What are friends? What were friends to me? They were my true friends. They really cared about me. They were so nice to me and helped me feel at home in this village. I couldn't have been happier. Everything was great, wasn't it?
ケイちゃん、そんなのって。
Mion seemed like she didn't know what to say. Her eyes looked moist. It was hard to believe she was really acting like this. It wasn't like Mion at all. I could feel her pain. She was in pain because she didn't know what I was blaming her for. She looked so sad. But I didn't notice her pain. I thought I was her friend. I didn't understand her feelings. I didn't trust her. I just used the word friends, but I didn't do anything like what friends were supposed to do.
そうだった。俺は、クズだったんだ。ミオンはミオンだったんだ。俺の最高の仲間だったんじゃないか。どうしてミオンを疑っちまったんだ。どうして。
ケイちゃんさ、最近元気ないよね。
都会から引っ越してきたんだもん。きっと今頃になって疲れが出てきたんだよ。
Who is this scene from?
それで風邪をひいたんじゃないかな。
Not chapter 2, I think.
そっかそっか。じゃあ栄養をつけさせてあげないとね。バッチャが今日おはぎを作ってるんだよ。いくつか分けてもらってケイちゃんへのお見舞いにでもしてあげるか。
This also seems familiar too, but I can't figure out where I've seen this.
こんなミオン、手を洗うとね。
Or maybe it's a whole new scene.
おいや、レナちゃん。一つやってるんかい？
へえ、おはぎ作りって面白そうですね。レナも一つだけ作らせてもらおうかな。よいしょ、よいしょ。
そうだそうだ、いいこと思いついたよ。
なにみーちゃん。あ、その小瓶何かな
甘いおはぎだけじゃ退屈しちゃうだろうからね。うち一つにはクリティカルヒットでタバスコを混ぜておいてあげよう。
Hot sauce. I thought it was something else like vanilla or something. But then I second guessed myself, like, why would she spike something with vanilla extract? That's right. That's what happened. They brought ohagi for me to help me get better. They only tried to cheer me. Oh, so that's when they made the ohagi. Why did I get so scared of them? Just because Mion knew I had lunch at Angel Mort, I grew terrified of her.
ケイチくん、顔色悪いよ。もう横になった方がいいと思うな。
そうだね。私たちはもう帰ろう。
They just wanted to cheer me up with a joke. But because I looked so serious.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
Please get better soon. I hope we can hang out in the club together tomorrow. That was a normal way of saying goodbye.
明日学校休んじゃ嫌だよ。
I'm just looking back at all this, and like Keiichi, I'm also feeling like an asshole for just assuming the worst. Assuming the worst in them. And being shown in retrospect just how bad my assumptions were. First of all, have I ever visited any of my classmates who were absent with a cold? No, I haven't. I never done such a nice thing to anybody, because it's too much of a bother. But they did that for me. I understand visiting a friend in a hospital, but I just caught a cold. But they came to visit me with ohagi so I could get better soon. I should have been thankful to them and said, I'll get better soon and I'm sure I can come to school tomorrow. So I'll see you then. That was what I was supposed to say. But what did I do instead? I locked the door. I closed the door and locked it as if rejecting them. What was I so scared of? What was I so afraid of? Why didn't I say any words of appreciation to my friends who cared about me? I was just so scared of the Ohagi they brought for me. What was I thinking? It was impossible there was a needle in one of them. There wasn't actually a needle at all. Then you hallucinated that? It was all in my head, because I read some manga about someone putting needles or razor blades in people's food. It scared me so much that I believed it could also happen to me for some reason. And I thought there was a needle in the Ohagi. You were so stupid, Keiichi! Why would your friends put a needle in food they only brought to make you get better? It was crazy to think like that. Even if there was a needle in one of them, I should have thought that it was some kind of mistake, and I should have believed in my friends' innocence. That's what a true friend would do. But what did I do? Pound. Splatter. Smash. I threw the Ohagi they spent so much effort making on the floor. Why? Why did I do that? I got along so well with them. I moved to Hinamizawa, and I made friends for the first time in my life. They were my best friends. Meeting them was the most wonderful experience of my life. I'd probably never have another one like that for the rest of my days. I knew that, but I got scared, and I doubted them. They noticed that I was acting odd. That's why they called the manager Irie. They thought a sedative might help me relax, so I could rest and get better. That's why they carried me up to me. Are you going to remember murdering them too? Mion just wanted to make it fun. She's the kind of person who expresses her goodwill by making a joke out of it. I knew that better than anybody. She knew Irie would roll up my shirt to check out my heartbeat with a stethoscope. So she was just trying to draw graffiti on my shirt like she did to Tomotaki-san as punishment for the game he lost. Yes. That's why Mion took a felt marker out of her pocket, one that we mistook for a syringe. A felt marker. She brought a marker from home because she just wanted to do something funny. She tried to cheer me up by making me take a punishment for fun, rather than nursing me, because that's just what Mion is like. She went to the trouble of bringing a felt marker to my house, just because she wanted to cheer me up. Reina held me down tightly, and Mion came closer to me to write something on my shirt. Mion whispered the words she was going to write on my shirt. I heard them. I heard them clearly. I heard what she was going to write on my shirt. I hope you get well soon. Mion. Make me feel like a bigger asshole, why don't you? I heard them. Then why? I should have known she wasn't going to do anything to hurt me. Wait, why am I feeling like an asshole here? I didn't do anything wrong. Keiichi did. Still feel bad for everybody, though. Then why? Why? Why did the marker look like a syringe to me? Why did I think that Mion was going to kill me? It was impossible. It was impossible. Why? 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 Why did I misunderstand that Mion was going to kill me? Ah! The numbness in my head receded, and slowly, I felt blood start to run through my entire body again. How long was I squatting down there? For a few minutes? Or a lot longer than that? As I looked up at the clock, the hands weren't moving at all, as if they had stopped while I had my eyes closed. Really? The atmosphere in the room wasn't filled with insanity like it was earlier, but it was quiet and gray. Reina wasn't holding me down. Mion wasn't about to give me an injection. Was all of that just some kind of illusion? Apparently. There was no sense of presence other than myself in that room. It was an extraordinary experience, the kind I'd never had before. I was there, with Reina and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but at the same time, I felt some kind of relief too. The scary incident was just an illusion after all. Neither Reina nor Mion would have done such a terrible thing to me. Tears started forming in my eyes. My emotions were running high. Why? It wasn't a question of why tears were forming in my eyes. Why? Did you doubt them? It was a question of my sadness. Why did I feel so sad? I don't know. I don't know. You don't know? What do you mean you don't know? You do know! I was so stupid. What the hell was I doing? I was so pathetic and helpless. Mion just tried to cheer me up. That was all. I liked her so much. She was my best friend. She was older than me. She hung out with me like we were the same age. She was the first one who came to talk to me in class. She was so nice to me. But Mion was lying down in an unnatural position near the window. She was covered in dusky red blood from her head to her chest. The red fluid splattered on the wall. It was Mion's. What had I done? What had I done? I will never forgive myself.
俺、みんなのこと、本当に友達だと思ってたんだぜ。
Why did all this happen? There was nothing fun in my life at my old school. When I talked to anyone, it was only ever about my chances of passing the entrance exam of the schools we wanted to go to. My life was shaded and gray. Friends to me were rivals and enemies to vie with for a school recommendation and test scores. My friends here taught me just how unnatural that was. This whole month was a blast. We raised the roof over lunch, our club activities, and the festival. A warm liquid flowed out from my eyes. To my surprise, it was my tears. I didn't have any obligation to cry for them, but I couldn't stop it. Even though they attempted to kill me. Even though they almost killed me. I couldn't forget the memories we made during the past month. Or were those fun days fake? Of course they weren't. Wasn't an act that they kept playing perfectly to set me up until today? Was it only me who believed that they were my friends? It couldn't be! Reina and Mion, they were my friends for real. Those happy days couldn't have been just a performance. Reina and Mion must have been forced by somebody to kill me. Or that extraordinary existence called Orishiro-sama possessed them and took over their consciousness. No matter what it was, both Reina and Mion were my best friends. I was stupid. I was such a fool. Such a fool. Such a fool. Such a fool. I wasn't making any sense at all. I killed my best friends. They were my best friends. Then why didn't I trust them? Why didn't I listen to them? I beat them to death. Who did I think I was? I made so I didn't do anything wrong, like I didn't do anything wrong. I felt like everybody went crazy, except me. I was such a fool. It was the other way around. Of course it was. I was the only one who went crazy.
ケイちゃん
俺はなんてことをしてしまったんだよ。なんてこと。
Keiichi, I know that this is big, that you're barely remembering what you did from chapter 1, and believe me, as far as I'm concerned, that is absolutely incredible, and especially noteworthy that you're actually remembering things from a previous timeline right now. But for everybody's sake, try not to let your emotions run away with you right now. I know that's a really tall order to ask right now, but it will at least probably help explain to them why you're so upset right now. Mion was still alive. I have a memory of beating her to death because I couldn't trust her. But that's a memory from a non-existent, different world. It did exist. But seriously, the fact that you remembered this, that you do definitely remember, it's possible for them to regain memories from previous timelines. If they could do that, if they can regain their memories from any of the previous timelines. Okay. Well, maybe they could put their heads together and maybe figure out what exactly has gone wrong in all those previous timelines, and narrow down any common threads that they can piece together. Like, for example, Tomotaki and Takano's deaths. I think that would be a good starting point. Realize that's always the same, even though everything else in the previous chapters always plays out differently. Why is that always the same? But even though it happened in a different world, I killed Mion. And I didn't realize how deep that sin was. Even though I even thought until now that Mion was at fault for being killed.
どうしたんですの、ケイイチさん。
I remember my past sins.
わかんない。ケイちゃん、落ち着いて。私は生きてるよ。ケイちゃんになんか殴り殺されてたまるかっての。
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't just let that happen, but Keiichi was freaking crazed and filled to the brim with adrenaline, so yeah.
ねえ。そうですわよ。ケイイチさんごときに遅れを取るようなのは我が部にはおりませんでしたよ。
Okay, I'm just gonna shut up on that.
違うんだ。
Mion Satoko looked confused, having no idea why I was crying. But what about Rika? But I couldn't help myself. I learned just now that I could earn redemption by confessing my sin. But I can never earn redemption for this. Not from Mion. No matter how much I cried in this world, nobody could give me forgiveness. And so, I could never earn redemption for this sin. Why not try? It was just like what they were just telling you. If you're going to ask anybody for forgiveness for a sin you committed, ask for forgiveness from the people you committed the sins towards. Just try it. Seriously, just try it. Maybe that might also make them start remembering shit too. Right then, Chi-sensei came in and noticed me crying. You wouldn't see a teenage boy crying like that very often. Chi-sensei asked me what was going on, but at that moment I couldn't hear anything. Mio and Satoku looked confused. They didn't know how to explain the situation. Rika-chan approached me in the midst of my sobs.
圭一は覚えているのですか？
Yes, I do!
レナとミーを殺したことを。
そうだ、俺が殺したんだなのに俺は何の罪も認めずに、まるで自分は被害者のつもりで、死ぬ最後の瞬間まで仲間を呪って恨んで、血がいっぱい出て、そして結局何の後悔もなく一人で勝手に死んだ。
I clawed my itchy throat in a phone booth. I didn't notice my sin, and I died alone.
圭一、あなたの罪に気づきましたのですか？
気づいた。こんなにも今頃になって俺は気づいたよ。ここじゃない、別のよく似た世界で俺はなぜか仲間たちに疑心暗鬼を持って殺してしまったんだ。仲間たちは俺に救いの言葉をかけていたはずなんだ。なぜそれに耳を傾けられなかった？どうしてだよ。
Also, I just now had another thought. If you don't get... I'm really worried now that if you don't get yourself under control, this bug that's in your system is going to feed off all this misery you're feeling right now and then just turn you into Craze Killer number 2. For the love of God, please, calm down. I didn't care if people were staring. I just kept crying. I wanted to transmute my sin to tears in order to squeeze it out of me. But tears that were coming out from my eyes weren't my sin. They were just tears of regret for doing something irreversible. At that time, I felt something touching my head. I opened my eyes and saw Rika-chan patting my head gently. I didn't need any comfort. I didn't deserve any comfort from Rika-chan. But the words she spoke to me weren't ones of comfort.
圭一を許しましょう。圭一は自分で自分の罪に気づきましたのです。それはとても偉くて普通ではありえないことなのです。だから誰も圭一の偉さがわからなくて、それを許してあげることはできませんのです。でも僕には圭一の凄さがわかるのです。
リカちゃん、
私はだってこれはありえないことなのだもの。あなたが別の自分の罪に気づくなんて
Well, we just did
絶
the
対にありえない
impossible.
こと。なのにあなたはそれに気づけた。それはきっとこの地上に具現するどんな奇跡すらも霞むほどのもので、信じられないくらいに尊いもの。
I didn't understand anything Rika-chan was saying, but I felt like she's the only one who understood that impossible memory I had.
なら今のあなたにならわかるはず。リュウグウレナがどういうことになっているのか。
ああ、わかるぜ。あの時の俺と同じなんだ。仲間のことを信じたくてしょうがないのに、信じられないんだ。どんどん自分がおかしくなっていくのに、そいつがわからなくて世界の方がおかしくなったって信じてやがるんだ。 どうすりゃ救えるかなんてわからねえよ。わからないんだ。だって、俺はダメだった。結局、死ぬまで、いや、死んでも気づけなかったんだ。それを、レナに気づかせるなんてどうやって。救えないよ。救えない。俺がそうだったからよくわかるんだ。どうやったってもう、救えないんだ。
Calm down, Keiichi. I did fail. But that didn't mean Reina would too. There was no excuse not to save her because I thought she'd fail. After all, what did Reina do back then? I was totally going mad, but she risked her life to save me. In my room, in that world, I had beaten her many times with a metal bat. But she was smiling. She knew I was scared. But that's why she smiled for me. I beat her so many times. Her arms were broken, and her forehead was cut open. I remembered. Reina didn't block her head. Even at the very last moment, she opened her arms towards me, like she was looking for a hug. But I still doubted her, and raised the metal bat up high. Reina told me then that it was okay.
私を信じて。
My heart. Ah! My friend told me to believe in her. She told me to trust her. I still didn't. I lost it and attacked her. She was in danger. She was actually killed. But she didn't even block her head. Instead, she used her arms to reach out for me. Rina continued to say those words until the moment she died. Trust me. Please, trust me. She risked her life to save me. Until her very last moments, she kept telling me to believe in her. But I didn't listen. For so long, I truly believed that I didn't do anything wrong.
リカちゃんに許してもらえて、少し心が軽くなった。でも、やっぱり俺の罪は、同じ形で滅ぼさなきゃならないんだ。レナの目は、俺が覚ます。
Reina risked her life to save me. She cared about me until her very last moments. She trusted me. She believed that her words would reach my heart, so she kept saying them, until I cracked her skull. I don't care if I die. Reina died for me. I can die for her too. I was such a fool for failing to understand my friend's feelings. That's why I didn't understand what she was saying. But Reina might be different.
この世界はもうおかしくなっちまった。
Ain't that the fucking truth?
でも、だからといって諦めていいなんてことはねえんだよな。
Hell yeah.
諦めるってことは信じないってことだ。俺はレナを、仲間の絆を信じるぜ。だから、まだ間に合うんだ。惨劇は回避できる。運命には抗える。俺たちはあがく。そして掴めるんだ。その先の。
Rika-chan nodded with a serious look on her face, and she put her hand in the pocket of her shirt.
ケイイチ、私も諦めない。この世界から希望を失ってたまるものか。私は数えきれない失敗に疲れ果ててた。だから世界がおかしくなることに諦めを感じるようになってた。 だから、もうレナがどうなろうと知ったことではないと。でも、それは間違いだった。戦おうとする意志が、こんなにも美しく、神々しくて、そして、運命すらねじ曲げかねない奇跡が起こせることを知った。だから私は、あなたと共に戦おう。もう一度戦おう。何度でも戦おう。その先の未来に至れるまで。何度で。
リカとケイイチさんが何の話をしてるのかさっぱりわかりませんでしたよ。
It's okay, Satoko. Maybe soon enough you will too. Hopefully.
覚えていないのは当然なのです。ケイイチが、すごいだけなのですよ。
But why am I an exception then? Why can't Satoko and Mion remember? Are we just not trying hard enough with them? Do we gotta jog their memories a different way?
私の高尚な脳みそではさっぱりでしたよ。
Rika-chan touched Satoko's forehead to hers.
でも、いつかは思い出してあげてください。あなたが、抗えぬ不幸の袋小路に囚われたとき、ケイイチは、
ケイイチさんが、ですの？
Back in chapter 3.
眉唾でございますわよ。
ね、ケイイチ。
Rika-chan looked at me, smiling as if I were waiting for my agreement. That's a good question. If you remembered chapter 1, do you also remember any of the other question arcs as well? I wasn't sure if I could risk my life for Satoko. No, I was sure. I'd risk my life for her. Satoko is my friend. If anybody tried to make her unhappy, I'd beat them up without hesitation. I'd risk my life to save her. There might have even been a world like that. I nodded to Rika-chan. Rika-chan nodded back to me, looking happy.
前原くん、何かありましたか？
Not yet. Hopefully everything will be. Chi-sensei realized that I'd finally calmed down, and she asked me that.
いえ、なんでもないんです。騒がせてすみませんでした。それより、ミオ。
何？
I walked towards her. Mion stepped back, not knowing what was going on. She bumped into the blackboard. I don't think he's gonna bite.
何、ケイちゃん。マジな顔でどうしたの？
Hug? I held Mion tightly. Hug! It was a total hug. She still didn't know what was going on, and her face turned red. Crying on her shoulder, I told her the following.
すまなかった。本当にすまなかった。
何がよ、ケイちゃん。おじさん、本当に何のことかわかんないよ。
Again, hopefully, maybe you will soon enough.
わかんなくてもいい。わかんなくてもいい。わかんなくてもいいから。聞いてくれ。本当にすまなかった。そして、おはぎ。うまかったぜ。本当にうまかった。元気が出た。だから、俺、明日からちゃんと学校に通えるから、また明日も、学校で会おうなって、それが、言えなくて。
Now, if you really want to get my spirits up right now, it would be really great if you listen very closely to what he's telling you right now and you actually end up remembering the events he's referencing. So that way we can get an additional one of you guys to start remembering stuff. And then, if that happened, maybe Satoku would follow suit as well. Then we'd have pretty much everybody, except Reina, all on the same page here. Come on, man. Do it. Give me a reason to be optimistic.
今日まで感謝の言葉が遅れて本当にすまなかった。俺はミオンを、いや、仲間を誰だろうと二度と疑わない。二度とだ。絶対にだ。だからミオン、あの日の俺をどうか許してくれ。
Mion must have had no idea what I was talking about. Of course. I didn't either. I didn't understand what I was talking about. But my sin wasn't forgiven yet. I needed to confess my sin in order to receive her forgiveness.
ミオンが命を懸けてくれたことを俺は知ってる。だからいつかミオンに何かの不幸が訪れたら俺は絶対に命を懸けて助けるからな。絶対だ。約束する。
ケイちゃん照れるな。
Mion's face was bright red. She didn't know what was going on. Satoko was blushing too, with a confused look on her face. But Rika-chan and I understood everything. We weren't going to accept a tragedy. We couldn't give up just because the world was going out of order. We were going to fight against fate to the very last moment. And I'm right there with you. Mion fought for me. Reina fought for me. That's why I was going to fight for Reina. Just like she did for me. I was going to risk my life to save her. Reina's perspective now, I assume? Well, no, the text is in red, maybe not. The summit was being held at a traditional Japanese restaurant in Shishibone City. When a black car stopped in front of it, 3 burly cops got out of it, followed by Ushi. They were welcomed by Sonozaki Corps members in equally black suits. It was something you didn't see every day.
今日はお招きいただきまして光栄です。遅刻しちゃって申し訳ないですね。
What's going on?
お客人、ご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。
There was a sign saying reserved at the entrance. Ushi and his subordinates were taken inside. They walked through the restaurant's pretentious landscaped garden, and they came to the gorgeous Japanese-style entrance. A woman in a kimono was waiting at the entrance, as was Kasai. Hello, Mommy Sonozaki. Upon seeing the police officers, they stopped chatting and bowed deeply. The woman in the kimono was Mion's mother, Akane.
いやー、どうも園崎社長さん。本日はお招きをいただきありがとうございます。
ようこそいらっしゃいました。ご多忙中のはるばるのお越し、心より感謝いたします。
いえ、今日はごちそうになりますよ。ここの料亭は湯葉が有名ですからね。ね。どんなごちそうか楽しみです。それから葛西さんもお久しぶり。直接会うのはだいぶ久しぶりになりますね。
ご無沙汰をいたしております。
まあなんかこの度はお互い戦争状態に突入しちゃってるようですが、白黒を穏便に大人のルールに従って決着できたらと思ってます。こっちは全面戦争はいつでも大丈夫ですんで。
いえ、そのようなつもりは毛頭。
そりゃこちらもやりたかはないです。あんたが粘ると血の雨が降るって評判ですからね。私もいい年なんで、もう流血沙汰はごめんしたいところです。
Obviously, this was a meeting between people who hated each other. The tension in their words indicated that it wasn't likely to be a friendly meeting.
それではご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。
主催自らのご案内、痛み入りますよ。
そうそう。招待状の名前は私で出させていただきましたが、今日の主催は本家でございます。
The whole main family? Does that include Oryu?
わけあって、招待状の名前を変えさせていただいたことをお詫びいたします。
本家。防弾チョッキを着に戻ってもいいですかね。ね。
On the other side of the door, there were several tables, and Mion was sitting at one of them. Since Mion was still young, her school uniform functioned as her formal dress. Still, it looked strange of both police and the Corps members in black suits.
これはどうも、園崎家の次期当主のお嬢さん。今日はお招きくださり光栄です。
本日はようこそお越しくださいました。まずはおかけになってください。
Mion politely welcomed the police, undaunted even though they were older than her parents. Mion gave Kasai a look, and he tapped on the door. The waitresses, who had been waiting behind the door, started bringing out drinks.
おいさん、一体こりゃ何のつもりっすかね。
Yes, please explain that to poor Kumagai here. I'm sure he's very curious to know why exactly you're all here. I'm pretty sure I know why you're all here. I don't. But tell him for Kumagai's sake so at least he knows.
さてね。まあ、ここは舌鼓を打たせてもらいましょう。
Okay, so I guess we're all in the dark then.
ここの湯葉は有名ですよ。
They started drinking, but the tension continued for a while. Mion made the waitresses and the other members of the Sonozaki Corps leave the room, and soon only Wushi and his subordinates, Mion, Akane, and Kasai were left in the room.
さて、今日はどういうお話ですかな？
Akane nodded and began speaking.
本日は皆さんとの間に生じている誤解について解かせていただきたく、この
誤解。
発端はとてもさまつでございます。ここにいる葛西が竜宮レナとの個人的事情により会見を求めたのです。よってこの度の件は葛西達義と竜宮レナ個人間のこと。園崎組は関与しておりません。
個人的事情って何ですかね？片木の竜宮さんと極道の葛西さんにどういう個人的な接点が生じるっていうんです？
葛西？
はい。僭越ながらご説明させていただきます。
Kasai told the police officers that he happened to meet Reina at a coffee house in Okinomiya. He explained that Reina found something he lost there, and that she offered to bring it back to him.
ちょいと無理がございませんかね。まあ100歩譲って落とし物の話を信じてもいいですよ。その後がちょいとおかしくないですかね。 竜宮レナを探して組の若い連中が動員されてるって聞いてますよ。
それに関しましては、この私めの手落ちでございます。竜宮レナさんが遅くになっても帰宅されないのを家人が心配されていたので、繁華街で見かけていることがないかどうか若い者に聞かせたのですが、その際に手違いがありましたようで。
おうおうおう、こんな割烹まで呼び出してそのヨタ話を信じろっての？あんたうちらの商売をなめてんの？
Ushi looked a lot more like a member of the Yakuza than the real Yakuza did. Ushi threatened him with a nasty smile, and it piled all the more tension onto the atmosphere of the room.
おいさん、まあまあ。
Kumagai tried to make him stand down. Officers with hot tempers pair with others who are good at calming them down, just like how Yakuza do. Ushi backed off with a grin. Kumagai took over, continuing from there.
それで、園崎家さんはどうおっしゃりたいわけですか？竜宮レナと葛西達義の個人的問題だから民事に介入するなとおっしゃりたいわけで、そういうわけにはいきません。竜宮レナは警察で保護させていただきます。
Mion opened her mouth for the first time in a while.
警察は竜宮レナを保護なさる理由をお聞かせください。
そりゃ決まってるじゃないかよ。あんたらが狙ってるからだよ。
Ushi answered bluntly, but Mion remained nonchalant. That must have made him all the more annoyed.
どうして当方が竜宮レナを狙っているとお思いで？
そりゃあんたの胸に聞きゃいいだろう。ご自分のその胸に。
大石さん、本日は皆さんの誤解を解くための会合です。もちろん耳を貸されないのもまたご自由かとは存じますが、
ほう、我々が何の誤解をしていると？
竜宮レナの持っている高野美代のスクラップ帳についてある重大な誤解をされております。
The officer's expression grew stern all at once. All of a sudden, she had gone straight to the point.
竜宮レナの保護は彼女が高野美代のスクラップ帳を持っているからなのではございませんか？
Ushi and the subordinates glared back at her without saying a word, making it obvious that her guess was right.
葛西。
Akane gave him a look, and he left the room. However, he shortly returned, carrying a black suitcase. Every one of the officers assumed that there was a tremendous amount of money in the suitcase, and that the Sonozaki family was trying to buy them off. Kasai opened the suitcase and showed them the contents to the police.
これは
Are those the same scrapbooks?
高野美代のスクラップ帳です。残念ながら竜宮レナに手渡したと思われるものは含まれておりません。これを本日の魚にいたそうかと思います。
中身を拝見させていただいても構いませんか？
ええ、どうぞ。お話はそれを読んでいただいた後で構いません。必要でしたら人払いもさせましょう。
いえ、それには及びません。
The cops produced latex gloves from their pockets, put them on, and took one of the scrapbooks out of the suitcase. There were more than 10 of them in there.
それらは高野美代の死亡の際に沖宮の自宅から発見したものです。
Ushi and the others desperately turned the pages of the well-thumbed scrapbooks.
これ、間違いなく高野美代のなんでしょうね。
間違いありません。
おいさ、もしこれらに類するものをリュウグウレナが持っているとするなら、
おそらくはリュウグウレナが持つスクラップ帳もそれらに類する内容でしょう。
What do you mean the same kind of stuff? Exactly. You're not saying that they're all... Are they... Okay, are they all exactly the same? From page to page? That's what I want to know. Because if all those books are exactly the same, then that just gives credence to my theory that she just gives these stories out to people in order to manipulate them with what's written in them. Wuxi looked stunned by the contents of the scrapbooks. He started turning the pages faster and closed the scrapbook roughly.
ここにあるスクラップ帳、全部がこんな中身なんですか？
ええ、そうですよ。
I was right!
納得ゆくまでご覧ください。
The other officers also rapidly turned through pages. They weren't reading them, just flipping through. They took one scrapbook from the suitcase after another and flipped through the pages roughly.
おいさ、こんなのめちゃくちゃです。たちの悪いオカルト小説ですよ。冥界と現世が激突して霊魂が流入した？これを証拠として採用しろって言うんすか？
ああ、そっちは冥界の仕業なんだ。俺のは地底人の仕業って書いてあるよ。
Okay, never mind. They're not literally so they're not literally the same as each other. God damn it. This one is about classified weapons of the Nazis. This one is about the legacy of the Mu continent. That one is about Aussie, the mysterious creature in Onikafuchi swamp.
おそらくリュウグウレナが持つスクラップ帳には皆さんもよくご存知の寄生虫説が記されているのだろうと察します。
Her special scrapbook among her scrapbooks, yes. Okay. Okay, let's say for the sake of argument that all these scrapbooks are just random little things that she's cobbled together Why exactly then would she have said that her parasite theory little scrapbooks that she gave to Reina was particularly special among the stuff that she was going to give Reina originally? There's gotta be significance to that. And considering how all the information in that particular scrapbook, well, most of it anyway, aligned oh so perfectly with my own parasite theories, I still refuse to believe that what's written in those books is just pure coincidence. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But right now, I have no reason to think that I'm on the wrong track here. The police were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The other officers were shooting glances at Oushi. They hadn't said anything to him, but they never really believed in the story of the parasite, let alone the bioterrorism. But Oushi had believed it and told him he had proof. None of the scrapbooks in front of them said anything about parasites, but it was easy to assume the contents of one scrapbook were no different in nature from another. In other words, all of them were just crappy occult novels. That was a very impressive groaning noise you just made. Ushi appeared unable to accept the fact that was facing him. But now that he was actually looking at it, it was too difficult to ignore. Mio Takano was an occult geek who had laughable ideas about the legend of Orikafuchi. But Reina took them seriously. And so had Ushi. The other officers could no longer stop themselves from laughing at the ridiculous scrapbooks. Ushi glared at them, and they stopped laughing. The main reason Ushi took the story of the parasite seriously was because the Sonozaki family was apparently after Reina Ryugu for the scrapbooks she had. Plus, Takano, the owner of the scrapbooks, was killed. Because of these two reasons, he believed in that cult B novel. Ushi was frustrated without a doubt. He has to accept that he was wrong. Don't worry, man. I've been there. Even throughout this whole LP series. I know exactly how you feel. Ushi was eager for any information that could help him solve the series of mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa before he retired. A combination of a number of factors made Takano's ridiculous theory become highly credible to him.
いくつかお聞きしたい。高野美代はどうして？
高野美代についても富武二郎についても当家では一切関知しておりません。
そりゃそう言うだろうな。自分のことを嘘つきという嘘つきがこの世にいるわけはない。
あらあら大石さん。当家で始末したなら死体が出るとお思いで。
Mion wore a cold smile. She had said too much. Connie cleared her throat, as if to condemn the statement, and that made Mion shut her mouth. Ushi glared at the young successor. But he knew she was right.
じゃあ、リュウグウレナをなんで追ってるんだよ。
初めから追っていないと申し上げております。確かにそう見えてしまう誤解が生じたことは、こちらのミスです。その点につきましては、私よりお詫びさせていただきます。
The reasons which made Ushi take Reina's delusions seriously collapsed one by one. And Mion and Akane looked at each other. They must have decided to let Akane speak. She did so firmly.
当家からのお願いを申し上げさせていただきます。当家ではこのような世まいごとの内容に踊らされて警察と事を交えるのは望むところではありません。伝え聞くところでは県警防対本部の三海氏が公安部と調整をされていると聞いております。何かのさまつな口実をきっかけに当家に関連するすべてに対し一斉捜査を入れられるおつもりとか。
That had been Ushi's request. Ushi took Reina's story seriously, and he wanted to find the research facility that was developing the parasite. He was intending to use it as proof of the potential bioterrorist attack. Oh, fuck! If he agrees to their terms, then they won't be able to investigate the Irie clinic for anything. Meaning we lose our chance to see if there's anything suspicious actually going on in there. Fuck! But as he had no idea where to start looking, he tried to conduct simultaneous raids on all the facilities the Sonozaki family owned in the entire prefecture, in cooperation with the task force for gang groups and public safety. Normally, the circumstantial evidence he had wouldn't be enough to get their cooperation. In fact, public safety doubted Ushi's source, because they had heard of any potential terrorist attacks, They trusted their information network. But Ushi took advantage of his long career and his old friends, and he managed to get them to cooperate. Ushi's face broke out in a nervous sweat. Needless to say, he realized he was completely wrong.
当家もダム戦争の当時はいろいろとご迷惑をおかけいたしましたが、すでに昭和も60年代を前にし、時代の移り変わりを感じております。そんな中、当家もまた弱きを助け、強きをくじく任侠団体でありながらも、時代に即した平和的な路線を模索しているところです。そんな中、警察の一斉捜査を頂戴しては、手前どもの面目が丸つぶれでございます。
あんたんとこの面目なんて知ったことじゃないよ。叩きゃ誇りが出るんだ。一斉捜査は決行しますよ。
誇りが出れば結構ではございますが、出なかった場合、いくら大石さんといえど、決して軽んじれない責任問題に発展するかと存じますが。
上等だよ。牛と全面戦争するか。
それをお望みでしたら、どうかお気が済むようお仕事をなされてくださいませ。当家はいつでも受けて立ちますので。
Akane Sonozaki didn't betray Ushi's expectations. Although her right to become the successor was taken away, Akane had been through a lot more than Mion. Ushi couldn't back out now, but he knew it was a fight he probably couldn't win. Kumagai butted in and tried to calm him down.
一斉捜査を控えることに対する見返りは？
Mion answered this time.
双方の友好の証として、そのスクラップ帳を皆さんに献上いたします。そのスクラップ帳があれば、まだ高野美代を出しに矛先を引っ込めることもできましょう。
These scrapbooks proved how ridiculous Mio Takano's theory was. I'm not so sure. Takano was dead anyway. Ushi could show people these scrapbooks and say he was fooled. He could still pretend the whole raid thing never happened. He might have to take responsibility for it, but if he didn't back off now, there'd be no doubt that he'd face a hopeless mess. If he was going to back off, it was now or never. The administrative staff at his station weren't exactly fond of him. If he made such a huge mistake right before his retirement, people who'd been looking for a chance for revenge would cut his pension with glee. His pension was decided by multiplying his base salary by a certain number. If they cut his base salary, there was no way he could avoid a big reduction.
おいさ。
He decided to back off. It was hard for him to admit mistakes at his age. He grimaced with anger.
あとはクマちゃんに任すわ。ちょっと飲みすぎちゃったみたいです。私はちょいと縁側で夜風に当たってきます。
And I'm going to strangle that cute girl!
失礼。
Is what he's probably thinking. Wushi stood up quickly and left the room, making a lot of noise as he walked. Kasai closed the door Wushi left open. The room was filled with silence again. At that point, Kumagai opened his mouth.
園崎家さんの言い分は了解いたしました。警察としても一斉捜査が及ぼす各業界への影響は本意ではなく、よって市内の平穏を維持するため、今後とも警察と園崎家で連携していくことを確認したいと思います。よってこの度の一斉捜査は見送らせていただきます。
ありがとうございます。 園崎家当主お領に代わりまして深く御礼申し上げます。
約束に従い、このスクラップ帳は警察でお預かりします。それから条件が2つ。
賜ります。
1点目は、この場にないスクラップ帳を園崎家が入手した場合、速やかに警察に提出すること。
Yeah, actually do that. Maybe you guys will notice something in there that Reina hasn't noticed yet. Something that could help me piece together more of the mystery surrounding this stuff. I'll take any clues I can get.
2点目は、リュウグウレナの身柄を確保した場合、速やかにその身柄を警察に引き渡すこと。
2点目は認められません。リュウグウレナは妄想に取りつかれた一少女に過ぎません。当家で速やかに身柄を確保した上で、しかるべき治療を受けられる医療機関を手配します。
Just don't take her to the Erie clinic. You know, the very same clinic that she suspects bioterrorist research is being conducted at.
これは当人の権利でもあります。
その点につきましては当方も主張を引けません。当方には高野殺しを含めてリュウグウレナに尋問する権利があります。重要参考人としてです。容疑者としてではありません。
Connie whispered to Mion. Mion in turn nodded and began to speak.
わかりました。2点目の条件を了承します。ただし、当方からも条件を追加します。
And I'll add another condition on top of that.
リュウグウレナの権利保全のため、当家から弁護士を派遣します。リュウグウレナへの尋問はすべて、弁護士立ち会いのもとで行うこと。
了解しました。ただし、一点確認を。園崎家からの弁護士が意図的に派遣されないことによる妨害は認めません。警察はリュウグウレナの身柄を確保した後、直ちに尋問を開始します。
当家も問題ありません。ただし、リュウグウレナの身柄確保時には、直ちに当家へ連絡をすること。
可能な限り早く連絡するようにいたします。
Akane cut in.
尋問をあらかた終えてから電話されても困ります。身柄を確保した時点でご連絡をお願いします。ここいらは互いを信頼した上での善意の取り決めでございます。どうか夢保護にされることがないようよろしくお願い申し上げます。
わかりました。双方による善意の取り決めです。遵守に誠心誠意努力いたします。
Akane and Kumagai glared at each other for a moment. Surprisingly, Kumagai was very calm. He was always in the shadow of Uushi, who was loud and noisy, but he had as much guts as his superior did. Uushi was good at taking care of matters in a rough and threatening kind of way, but Kumagai was good at negotiations like this. The meeting ended, and the police stood up from their seats. The tension in the room had finally ceased. Kasai put the scrapbooks back in the suitcase and handed it to Kumagai. Kumagai looked at Kasai, nodded lightly, and took what was offered him.
イタリー製の最高級カバンです。今日のお土産に含まれますので、どうかお持ちになってくださいませ。
いえ、お約束ではスクラップ帳のみをお預かりすることになっております。カバンは後日、園崎組事務所へお返しに伺わせていただきます。それでは失礼します。園崎家当主お涼さんにも、どうかよろしくお伝えください。
The officers left after bowing to Mion. After making sure that the police had left the hallway, Mion sighed heavily and finally let go of her tension. She spread her feet on the floor, flapping the rim of her skirt.
いやー、肩が凝っちゃったよ。お母さんがやってくれればよかったのに。
カだね。あんたの方が肩書きが上なんだよ。こういうのは年じゃなくて肩書きなの。
Authority equals ass kicking, Mion.
葛西、中井に行ってビールでも持ってこさせて。あと外の若いのも呼び入れて何か冷たいのを振る舞ってやりな。
ビールだけでよろしいですか？
ああ、この子はダメダメ。オレンジジュースでも頼みな。
子供扱いして。
Okay, you can have grapefruit juice instead.
肩書きが上でも全然大人扱いしてもらってないよ。
Well, she is your mother, and I would hope that rank or high rank or low rank, she would at least be responsible in that area.
いくつになってもでっかい子供だよ、あんたは。
Translation, I am a responsible parent.
それはそうと、今回の一件、お父さんがだいぶ手回ししてくれてるんだよ。よーく感謝しときな。葛西もね。あんたも片木と会うときはもうちょい気を利かせな。
みっともない限りです。
しかしさ、あの大石をコケにするとはレナちゃんもやるじゃない。
I think it's probably more accurate to say it's probably Takano who's made a fool out of Ushi by proxy.
あんたの友達はつくづく大物が多いね。今度ぜひ母さんにも紹介してよ。お芝居でも一緒に見に行きたいね。葛西、今度レナちゃんに会ったらぜひそう伝えておいてよ。
Good news, Reina. The Mion's mom likes you.
その時、また物騒な話を吹き込むんじゃないよ。
もちろん分かってます、姉さん。
With that, they successfully dispelled the magical power of Takano's scrapbooks. The whole mess shouldn't grow any larger. We'll see. We will see. The only remaining problem was Reina. Where could she be hiding? Oh, we still got more. Before I went to bed, I headed to my window to close the curtain. I saw the shadow of a person near the porch. Reina, it's late. How could it be so late? Well, I didn't have to guess who it was. Or it could be Rika, actually. There was only one person I knew who might come to see me so late. You two are about to go off and give chase, aren't you? I opened the window and looked more carefully this time. I was right. Oh, so my first guess was right. You didn't come here to stab him, did you? Have you? She was just standing under the light. I wonder how long she'd been there for. It didn't look like she was going to ring the doorbell. She was just standing there. She seemed to be asking herself whether to ring the doorbell or not. Hungry? Haven't found a place to stay? For how long has she been hesitating in front of my door? It looked like even her standing was giving her a hard time. She looked very tired. I ran down the stairs, put my sandals on, and rushed out of the house. Reina looked surprised to see me, even though I came out after making a lot of noise.
Rina!
She's right in front of you. You don't have to yell. She looked relieved to see me for a moment, but then she soon glanced downward and looked sad again.
お前、いつからここに突っ立ってたんだよ。
わかんない。夕方、
ちょっと過ぎくらいからだったと思う。
Dear God, no wonder you're tired. Reina must have been staying somewhere outside for the last 2 days at the very least. It wasn't like she'd been camping for fun. She'd been in a state of high tension the whole time, believing that someone was trying to kill her. Reina looked utterly exhausted. She seemed to have taken care of the deep scratch she made on her neck the other day with some large band-aids. The band-aids had cute pictures, but it only made the wound on her neck look more painful. I saw some band-aids soaked with blood on her arms and body too, and I could tell she made them herself. She had more scars than she had last night.
とにかく中に入ろう。この2日間ろくなものを食べてないんだろ。
When I tried to take her in the house, she refused with a vague expression on her face. It wasn't like she didn't want to go into the house. It was more like she had to refuse because she thought she didn't deserve it. Please tell me that this isn't a dream that Keiichi's having right now, and that this is actually happening in reality, and that maybe Reina might have at least partially come back to her senses.
もうね、ダメなの。今のこの瞬間も、私の全身の中で変なのがざわざわ騒いで、かゆくて、かゆくて、溢れ出しそうなの。
なあ、レナ。多分それは何かの病気なんだ。とりあえず今夜は俺の家で休んで、明日の朝一番で監督の診療所へ行ってみないか。監督ならレナの微妙な立場を分かってくれるから、誰にも。
自分でもわかるんだよ。富武さんがどういう最後を遂げたか、今ははっきりとわかるの。
Oh, really?
私は必死にそれを我慢しているだけ。
Reina believed she was given some kind of suspicious drug that made her claw at her neck to death, just like Tomotaki-san did. She had convinced herself that it was going to happen. She wouldn't hear anything else right now. But she really wants somebody to help her. She wanted help, but when she tried to give her a hand, but when someone tried to give her a hand, it looked like the hand of the devil. If this was some kind of disease, what a horribly depressing disease it was. No fucking shit.
私ね、どういう最後になるかわからないけど、多分、もうそんなに長くないと思うの。
そんなことねえさ。無敵の部活メンバーリュウグウレナがそんな程度でくたばるかよ。
Didn't stop her from dying so easily the last few chapters.
ありがとう。それでね、死んじゃう前に、ケイチ君にどうしても謝りたかったの。
What are you going to do?
謝
What the
る。
hell are you going to do?
何をだよ。
私昨日、すごくいけないことを言って、ケイチ君を傷つけた。
She must be talking about last night. She trusted me, but when Ushi-san told her about my past, she felt betrayed. And after that, everything I did out of goodwill seemed like the opposite to her. I know what it's like. I once felt the same way about you, Reina.
私もね、昔引っ越してくる前、とても悪いことをしていた。いっぱい。
そうか。そうなんだ。
ケイチ君みたいに、おもちゃの鉄砲で撃つのなんかと比べ物にならないよ。
Right in the eye, though.
金属バットで、頭が割れちゃうくらいに殴った。みんな大怪我だった。他にもね、学校のガラスとかいっぱい割って歩いたり、それからね、
I know.
それからね。
I know. But I don't care about any of that. You did that before you moved here. That's why you stopped being Reina Ryugu and became Reina after you moved here, right? To me, you're my best friend, who's very kind, thoughtful, fun, and a kleptomaniac. That's the most important thing. I don't care who you were before.
ね、私ももっともっといっぱい悪い。圭一君のこと仲間じゃないなんていう資格全然なかった。
Well, I'm glad you realized your error. Seriously.
それは俺もなんだ。俺も最初レナの過去のことを聞いて恐れた。
そっか、知ってたんだ。
Well, yes and no. It's complicated. I still don't know the specifics behind it all myself yet, but let's just say I came to learn about your background from another time and in another place. Reina laughed sadly. She seems shocked to find out that I knew about her history when she thought I didn't.
でもだからなんだよって思ったぜ。引っ越してくる前にレナがどんな大悪党だとしたって、それでレナはいろいろと泣いたり笑ったりしながら人生を積み重ねてきて、それでひなみ沢に引っ越してきて誰にも恥じなくていい生活をしてるじゃねえかよ。前の町で悪いことがあったとしたってレナはそれを悔いているならどうでもいいことだったんだよ。その結果竜宮レナってやつが尊敬できる人間に成長できたならどうでもいいことだったんだよ。
I should have noticed it earlier. Reina is Reina. That's why she's Reina Ryugu. I can understand that simple thing when she said she wasn't Reina.
レナも聞いたろ。俺も悪いやつだった。バカだったんだ。なんてバカなことをしたんだと後悔した。だから引っ越しは人生をもう一度やり直すいい機会だと思ったんだ。だから俺はひなみ沢では自分で自分が好きになれる前原圭一だったと思ってる。それはレナもなんだろ。茨城でどういう生活だったかなんて関係ない。ひなみ沢にいる竜宮レナが大事なんだ。だから竜宮レイナが何者だろうと俺には全然関係ないことだったんだ。
そうだよね。そうだよね。
新しい自分をやり直せる機会は何回あったっていいんだ。
Or don't want. Just ask Rika.
そんな機会があるから俺たちは何回も失敗しながら傷つきながらもっと大好きになれる自分を探してさまよえるんじゃないかよ。人生に一度や二度のつまずきなんてつきものなんだ。だからそんなのにへこたれないで俺たちはどんどん成長していかなくちゃいけないんだ。だからそんなたくましい人の膝に残るかさぶたを見ておぞましく思うなんて最低のことだったんだよ。
When you go through a lot of pain, you can be kinder to others. So I don't need to know your past. And even if I knew, it shouldn't have changed the way I treated you. But we were fools. We couldn't understand that until we went through things like this ourselves. Mion knew that from the beginning. We were such fools. We hurt each other, and we made each other cry.
だから竜宮レナはこれまでも今もそしてこれからもレナが辛い時きっと俺が助けるから俺を信じてくれ。
ありがとう。圭一君を信じるよ。
It's very tragic, but what she said isn't true. She probably didn't mean to lie. But I knew she didn't trust me from the bottom of her heart. My words didn't reach her. I knew that because Reina kept telling me to trust her that time. She kept saying those words while I kept hitting her with the bat, but they still didn't reach me.
私ね、もう多分長くない命だと思うけど、こんな素敵な圭一くんがいるひなみ沢を救うために頑張るよ。
No. Reina.
奴らなんかにこの村を乗っ取らせない。みんなで楽しく過ごしていた日々を取り戻すために私は戦うよ。奴らの陰謀を必ずやっつけてみせるから。
She said that she trusted me, but she didn't understand anything I was saying. Even if I kept telling her the conspiracy was Takano-san's delusion, it wouldn't reach her.
ありがとう、圭一くん。レナを許してくれて。
I do forgive you. So, please forgive me for what I did to you.
きっとひなみ沢を救う。だから圭一くん、力を貸して。圭一くんだけは信じられる。圭一くんとなら救えると思ってる。
レナ
I knew how bad of a corner Reina was driven into. If I was her, I'd be walking around with a baseball bat, thinking every single person around me was my enemy. Reina cared about me so much, but I saw her as my worst enemy. But Reina, you still trust me. Even when you're driven into this bad of a corner. Maybe it's a ploy. I want to trust her too, man, believe me, but I can't exactly ignore that possibility. I couldn't understand what you were saying. I beat you to death while you kept telling me to trust you. But you're different. You still trust me. You are so...
どうして泣いてるの？
許してくれ。許してくれ。俺はもう絶対にレナを裏切らないから。レナのことを信じるから。だから許してくれ。
何のことを言ってるのかよくわかんない。圭一くんはいつもレナのことを信じてくれてるよ。だからレナも圭一くんのことを信じてる。
Actions speak louder than words, so let's start doing some actions.
信じていいんだよね。圭一くんだけはレナを信じてくれるんだよね。
Tears fell from my eyes. I sobbed and nodded again and again to answer her. Tears welled up in Reina's eyes too. Before I knew it, we were putting our foreheads together, tears in our eyes.
あのね、私ね、この戦いを終わらせる方法を見つけたの。
Dare I ask what that is?
本当か？
うん。勝ち目のほとんどない方法だけど、私にできる一番の抵抗だと思う。
Don't you dare suddenly attack him.
レナ、それがどんな方法かは知らないけど、それが終わった後、俺たちはみんなでまた楽しかった元の日々に戻れるんだよな。戻れるんだよな。そうじゃなくちゃ嫌だ。俺はお前をこの場から行かせない。
大丈夫だよ、圭一くん。元の幸せな日々に戻るための起死回生、逆転の最後の一手なんだから。
A come from behind victory? I don't know what she has on her mind. What, stab him in the back or something? It began with a delusion and it'd end with a delusion. If I encouraged her too much, she twisted into an attack on her. I was like that at that time. I took Reina's goodwill as the complete opposite thing. So I stopped denying her story. This was Reina's battle. It was her lonely battle. She had to fight against her own delusion. The more we tried to help her, the more we drove her into a corner. But I would always be there for her. Whenever she needed help, she could reach me. I wanted her to know that. So, I said just one thing.
俺は最後の瞬間までレナの味方だからな。絶対にレナの味方だからな。
Even if I told her to trust me, I knew she couldn't right now. And I knew that. But I told her those words anyway. Even if she couldn't believe them, and if she tried to smash my head in, I'd say those words. I'd keep saying them until I die.
ありがとう、ケイチくん。明日でね。きっと全部終わるの。
Why?
きっと私たちは勝つよ。
Why will
そ
everything
し
be
たら
over tomorrow?
またみんなで楽しく部活をしよう。みんなで。私たちが一番楽しかった時を取り戻そう。
Although she wished to regain our happy times so badly, I couldn't get rid of the darkness that controlled her mind.
じゃあ、私はこれで行くね。明日の準備があるから。
Tell the truth, I didn't want to let her go. I wanted to stop her even if I had to grab her arm. But I couldn't stop her like that. If I grabbed her arm, she wouldn't trust me anymore.
待てよ、レナ。
Who's to say that she actually trusts you even now? I'm not trying to rain on your parade here, man. Believe me. But she is not well. You have to keep that. I know that you're aware of that, but seriously, just realize that even if it runs contrary to what she's saying, there is a good chance that she's not being honest with you about her trusting you, at least not completely.
明日の準備って。
内緒。ケイチくんに協力してもらうこともあるかもしれないけど、その時はレナを助けてね。
What are you... I don't like this. What are you going to do? I'm getting a bad feeling here.
ああ、当然だぜ。
I nodded strongly so she could tell that I was still on her side. But I didn't know what her come-from-behind victory meant at this point. The first thing I could think of is that she was going to invade the house of the Sonozaki family, which she thought was her enemy. So, I called Mion to warn her after Reina left. Mion laughed bitterly and said, "Why does everybody want us to be the bad guys so much?" But she understood the situation.
いっそ悪役に徹しさせてもらってもいいよ。レナが妙なことをしでかす前に踏んじばって病院に担ぎ込むのもいいかもしれない。
Honestly, yes, it would be.
本当に最後の最後まで行ったらそれも仕方ないかもな。でもレナを信じたいんだ。最後のギリギリまで。あいつはこんなに心が追い詰められても俺をまだ信じるだけの心の強さがあるんだ。俺とは違う。だからきっとレナは妄想に打ち勝てるはずなんだ。
I hope for your sake that you're right. Otherwise, we really are just gonna end up getting a repeat of Chapter 1.
最近ケイちゃんとリカちゃんが何を言ってるのかおじさんちょっと分かりかねるんだよな。なんか最近ヘビーなことでもあったわけ？
You can't say it happened lately in a way. I killed Mion a couple days after the festival.
悪いな。意味のわかんない話ばっかりしちゃって。 それよりレナのこと、見損なったりしないでくれ。な。
そんなわけないよ。誰だってたまには心が風邪をひく時があるって。レナのこれもその程度のこと。まあちょいと熱は高いみたいだけど、すっきりケロッと治ってすぐに笑い話になっちゃうって。ケイちゃんが思ってるほど事態は悪くなってないよ。大石の大バカ野郎は自分の誤解を認めた。例の件は発生自体にも気づいてない。だからこのままレナの空騒ぎでしたってことで決着できる。
そうなのか？空騒ぎで決着できそうなのか？
そういうことで決着させんのが園崎本家次期当主のミヨン様の手腕じゃないの。某料亭でね、大石とおじさんが1対1で対談してちゃんと誤解を解いてきたわけよ。大石はタジタジ。いやー、おじさんもなかなかやるね。
Shaking in fear? More like bitter resentment. Mion bragged about her achievement, laughing loudly. I could tell she was exaggerating a little. Anyway, compared to the sense of impending doom Rina seems to be feeling, the others seem to be taking it rather easy. It was all up to Rina now. If she understood everything, she could go back to the peaceful world she wished for. We were waiting for her to reach out to us, just like we did by the abandoned car at the garbage dump that day. Reyna, I couldn't win, but I know you can, because you're the one who told me to have faith until the end. So I know you can win. That didn't mean that she could literally win the last battle she was talking about earlier, but Reyna would win. She'd win, and she'd regain her peaceful life. New tips unlocked. Last night. Do you mean last night as in referencing the previous night, or last night as in this is the last night we're going to be experiencing? That moon, though, and that thumbnail. I guess looks rather pretty when it's all darkened.
もう明日なのです。ん？ああ。私たちの命日。
Oh, Rika and... well, whoever the hell it is you're talking to.
今回も同じ顛末なのです。そうかしら。よく似てるけど、いろいろと違うところもあったわ。ケイチ、前のことを覚えてたし。そんなことはありえないのです。覚えているわけ、いや、知っているわけはないのです。あんたが絶対にありえないと言ってくれればくれるほど、じゃあこれは本当に奇跡なんだって思えるわね。どうせ今回もおしまいです。おしまい。もうすぐ終わる。全部終わる。そう。日暮らしの泣く頃に。
Was it all going to end anyway? The more often you throw a die, the closer the total will get to the average. When you throw a die 100 times, even if a miracle happens and you get a 6 twice or 3 times in a row, the total will average out in the end. That's a fact of statistics. But when you throw a die 100 times, the total number ranges from 100 to 600. The more you throw, the greater the likelihood that the number will converge on the average. But the truth is, the more you throw, the more possible outcomes you create. There are 500 different futures you can create by throwing a die 100 times. There are 5,000 different futures you can create by throwing a die 1,000 times. there might be one future among them that enables you to actually finish this never-ending game of dice. Keiichi showed me a miracle, and it taught me that it's not a waste of effort to keep throwing the die. Don't give in to something like an average.
イラつく背中を見せるわね。どうせ今回もダメだろうって、そういう哀愁でいっぱいよ。私だって、どうせダメだろうと思ってる。でもね、最後のサイコロを投げるまで、私は諦めない。
Wait a minute. This person you're talking about mentioned the day is approaching where we're going to die, as in both of you. Who is this girl?
ケイイチが教えてくれた。今回は何かが違うの。だから、それを信じてみる。
リカは、本当に強いのです。
まあね。あんたよりはずっと若いし。
A lot younger than... So the person you're talking to is also a 100-plus-year-old being? Who? Again! Who are you talking to?
リカ？こんな時間に起きてて、夜更かしはダメでございましてよ。ごめんなさいなのです。寝苦しかったので、星を見ていただけなのですよ。もう寝ますです。そうなさいませ。おやすみ、リカ。おやすみなのです、さとこ。
I really gotta find out who the hell she's talking to. Because if there's another person here, if there's another person in this village here who's a lot older than they appear, or in this case how they sound, because I haven't actually seen this other person yet, then I can't help but wonder: are there any other people like Rika and this other person in this village somewhere that we don't know about? Or, wait. What if Rika... Okay, so... Clearly, Rika's not the only one who knows that they're stuck in some kind of loop. And now Keiichi knows too. I wonder... Is this unknown person the first person who started remembering the loops or something? Followed by Rika and now Keiichi? But again, even if that's true, I mean, what exactly does that end up mean for me? Especially since I don't even know who this first person is. I really hope we get something of this unknown girl soon, because clearly, what little nuggets they keep feeding me, I feel is very, very important and very, very interesting. I'm still dreading the next episode, though. Like, what exactly does Reina mean by everything's going to come to an end tomorrow? What exactly is she going to do? I fear it's going to be something pretty freaking bad, whatever it is. And because we have precedents for this with the other chapters. Things just basically exploding until there's bodies hitting the floor. And the explosions tend to keep getting worse. Or at least they reached their current height with Chapter 3 anyway. But point is, people die. A lot of people. There's just a sense of dread I'm getting that I just can't shake. I really hope I'm wrong. but I don't think I am. I think something bad is going to happen. Whatever Reina has got planned, it's not going to be good. I guess that's a little mystery that we're going to have to save for next time. I don't like this. I don't like this dread. I want to go back to looking forward to happy things, stupid things, not things that just make me feel like the moon's gonna come crashing on top of me, Majora's Mask style. Anyway, I've been rambling long enough. I should end things here. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 6. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.